John Buccigross is joining us on the Diamond Factory Hotline. Turn it up, Peyton. John, is your Wikipedia correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We know Wikipedia is 100% correct all the time.
Always is.
No, but no, I was a big Run DMC fan back in the day. Remember when my buddy Don Goodpasture gave me the first cassette of them and said, "Well, this is different. This is new." And so I was right there from rap's beginnings, and so I kind of grew up with them. And that's actually an underrated karaoke song. Like if you know that jam, and maybe even have a friend who knows it too, it's a good karaoke song.
It's my 10-year-old's walk-up song in baseball.
Look at that.
Yeah.
He's a beauty.
The wiki profile, Choppy. I'm 6'4", 192, Mizuno MP33 irons.
No. Well, that's outdated now. I'm not that good anymore. Those
are blades.
That's when I was a one handicap. Yeah. Now I'm a sloppy 7.
Love chicken parm. Once played golf with Ray Bork. Tried to intentionally 3-putt from 30 feet so I could say I shot a 77 playing golf with Ray Bork. Instead, the slippery downhill putt went in.
That is true.
And I shot a 75. Is that true?
That is true, yeah. I actually did try to miss that putt. And actually, I wrote a whole article on ESPN.com, and actually one of those, remember those books, the Chicken Soup for the Soul?
Yeah.
And there would be all kinds of different, it was a brand with all kinds of different things, and one was Chicken Soup for the Soul golf stories, and they actually used that for that book, which was kind of a big thrill. And it was kind of, the lesson in the end was, the harder we try, the worse it is. The less we try, sometimes the better it is. Maybe that's what the Stars need to do tonight. Maybe let it go, be free, and then maybe good things will follow. We can't try too hard. We can't press too hard, or the stuff we want to happen is not going to happen.
What a segue. What a pro.
Yeah.
They're in the same position they were in the last series against Minnesota. Do you still consider the Stars the favorites?
I do. Yeah, I do for sure. Certainly injuries can always play a part in it, but and Seattle probably has been underrated a bit in terms of, when you don't have a salary cap problem because you're only in the second year of existence and you don't have any really high paid guys yet because they're not on their second contracts yet. You can have a lot of depth. You can have a lot of good players, 18 good players. Maybe not a great one, or maybe not even a couple great ones, but for the most part, it's a good way to have a hockey team. If you make the right decisions, you can have a hockey team put together pretty good in year 1, year 2. Vegas went to the final in year 1, and the Kraken have a chance to go to the final in year 2 because they have a bunch of pros, only one young player, and Matty Beniers. The rest are 25 to 32, manageable contracts, so they get a bunch of those guys. So they have pretty good depth.
What have they been able to do? Nobody else has really been able to get to Otter. What has Seattle been able to do in this series, or is it Stars defense that's let them down?
Well, they're getting these goals in bunches, right? It happened, twice, and that again, maybe that speaks to their depth. Where they get good matchups. Maybe there's a matchup there that maybe is a bad matchup that either coach maybe didn't even realize existed before the series started. But then they realize, oh wow, this line got out here against that D pair or that pair, and that didn't quite. And that you don't sometimes until the teams actually play each other with these new sets of players each round, you don't know what's a good matchup yet. And then you kind of find it. And that's why long series are so interesting, because you can learn about your opponent. You can and make the adjustments. So coaching really does become a valued part of hockey. But that's one reason why Peter DeBoer keeps getting jobs, because he does a good job at these playoff adjustments. He's brought multiple teams to the Stanley Cup Finals. He's had good teams, but again, he makes the right adjustments. So I expect him to think about this, sleep on this, and then come up with something tonight that can help his team win. That's why he keeps getting jobs.
John Buccigross joining us from ESPN here on 105.3 The Fan. I've heard multiple hockey players say that momentum game to game is not a thing. Is that something that they have said to you over the years, and something that you notice as well watching all these playoff series, John, that playoff momentum just dies at the end of the period, at the end of that game?
I think so. I think that's true. There's so much exhaustion after each game. You get a literal and metaphorically fresh sheet of ice every time you step on, for the next game. It really is a clean sheet. You start all over. Your mood can be different. Your body can feel different, especially this time of year when it is so taxing. Some days you feel good. Some days you don't feel good, And obviously, like last night, Edmonton didn't feel good for whatever reason, kind of dead. Now they'll be extremely desperate for Game 4, try to even the series, and you go back and it all becomes about Game 5, going up 3-2, then you're in great shape. And I'm sure that's how Edmonton's looking at that today. And same with the Stars. This is our Stanley Cup Game 7 tonight. Mm-hmm. We win this, and bang, we win Game 5. Everything changes in 2 games. It's like, wow, what a different mindset when you're up 3-2. And it's not really momentum, but it's certainly a mindset of confidence. And again, going back to the golf putt is, a little bit at ease. Okay, now we're up 3-2. Now we can relax and be ourselves. And Jake Oettinger can be daring and brave and confident and loose, and he can be quicker. Loose muscles are fast muscles, and he needs to be loose tonight, and they need to be loose and to even the series up.
The last time we heard a background like this was Mike Martz looking out over the golf course. What are you at Augusta?
Oh, yeah.
Where are you?
Birds chirping.
I'm at the Infinity dealership getting an oil change and dealing with a leaky tire that keeps every 6 weeks. They got to pull in the gas station, pump $1.75 a quarter, and fill it back up to 32.
You've been living that life.
I do the same thing. I am on the same trajectory. I refuse to get a new tire. I'm just going to keep filling this damn thing up.
It's an extreme slow leak. If it was once a week, I would have been here sooner. But it's like every 6 weeks. And plus, it was over the winter when, the tires tend to, the old Tom Brady inflate thing, deflate case.
Oh, wow.
Philosophy, because it's cold, the tires aren't as high as when they're warm. I believe, Tom, it was cold. The footballs are obvious. That's not going to happen.
It's a cold day.
I thought they were birds chirping as squeaky
there
wrenches.
There are birds chirping, that's not fake CBS Masters birds. Those are actual birds.
John, we've, we watched Jason Robertson have just a really, really great season. He hasn't had the playoff run that he had in the regular season. Are you surprised that he is, I don't want to say disappeared, but hasn't kind of lived up to his regular season?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. It is an adjustment. The Stanley Cup playoffs tend to be quicker. Skating's not his strength. He's not a burner. So, playing with pace and playing quickly, that's sometimes the games are fast, and it's sometimes it's tougher to keep up for some people, but he's a great scorer, very smart, great competitor, and obviously really with a great shot. So he can certainly pump in 2 or 3 goals tonight. Wouldn't be surprised. So it is it's a short amount of games. Sometimes it feels longer, but sometimes guys are not going to score. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins hasn't scored yet for Edmonton. He had 100 points during the regular season, hasn't scored a goal yet. That stuff can kind of happen. It's mainly being consistent each shift in, shift out, and they'll start going in for him. Your
thoughts on Jake Oettinger and how concerned or worried do you think we should be after some of these performances where he's been outstanding for the most part, but when he gives them up, they tend to come in bunches. How worried do you think Stars fans should be?
Yeah, you can be a little concerned. So you don't know what's really going on inside his head if he doesn't feel right and doesn't feel confident. That is a big thing with sports and all kinds of sports, free throw shooting, putting, like we talked about. Sometimes you feel you're going to make everything. Some days you feel like I have no chance to make this. And some days you're at the free throw line. It's like, man, I just don't feel good. You're 6 of 10. Other days you're 9 of 10. And maybe he's had a couple of those. But, again, that goes back to Peter DeBoer and what's the best way we can play as a team in front of Jake to make him his best, because, we need him to be his best for us to win. And so whether they try a little different tactic tonight defensively on their forecheck or line combinations, I expect them to come up with something tonight to help him play better.
We love getting ahead of ourselves. If they come back and win this series, who's the better matchup, Vegas or Edmonton?
I would say, probably Vegas. They're scoring wise. They're not going to be as potent, especially the power play, as Edmonton. That's the thing about what makes Edmonton so scary is their power play. You give them 3 or 4 a game, and they're going to probably pump in 2. And they're going to draw in penalties because of McDavid. He's the fastest player in the sports. He's going to draw penalties. Amazingly, they didn't last night. They only had 1 at the end of the game. And by then the game was already out of question. So, that kind of potency on the power play, and with those 2 great players, you want to avoid them at all costs. And so to play a Vegas team who looks like they might not have their starting goalie the rest of the way, an older defense, who knows, they could get another injury. So I think that would be the matchup they would want. But the pathway is there for all 8 teams left. It really is interesting. All 8 teams I could picture raising the Stanley Cup, and that hasn't really happened the last decade. Usually there's somebody you figure, okay, they're going to get there in the end. Chicago, then the Penguins. then Tampa Bay, and so last year Colorado looked like they were the favorite, and they did in the end win. So it's kind of cool. All 8 teams really have a pathway, and suddenly the Panthers are the betting favorite, and they look like the team that's most likely to win it. Unbelievable! They don't even make the playoffs. If the Penguins beat the Blue Jackets and the Blackhawks the last 2 games of the season, they don't make the playoffs. Now they might win the Cup.
Look, man, you seem like a cool dude, so I feel comfortable.
I am. I really am.
Your Wikipedia says so. Look, we have to wake up at like 4 a.m. and we start this show at 5:30 to 10. Can you
God bless you.
Can you use your ESPN weight at all to give us a little earlier start time? These 8:40, 8:50 puck drops, John, are murdering us. Come on.
No, well, that's 9:50 for me. I'm working these games too, and not only watching them, I got to work them. So, these 9:50 starts are tough. That's why I'm there at 1 o'clock in the morning rolling out. So, I wish they could start those things over. They must have science and demographics behind it, but it would be nice if they could start these things at 7 and 9 our time, and maybe a little earlier for you, 6 and 8. So, but we'll see. But again, I think it's science and the almighty dollar behind that.
Our listeners would like to know when you're going to try to pull off PK's fashion in studio. When can you copy that?
Yeah, he had a little Edward Scissorhands look last night, and it's often some sort of Kardashian pajama look most of the time. So I don't think I could pull that off. I'm better off with either a tux or a youth medium T-shirt. Either one of those. That's about it.
Medium.
All right. Before we let you go, we have it has been told to us that hockey players are the coolest athletes. So, of all your years, you got a hockey table of 4 for dinner and drinks. Who are the other 3 hockey people you're inviting? Pro, present, past, doesn't matter.
Wow, that's a great one. Chris Chelios is so much fun. He knows everybody. I mean, he parties with Eddie Vedder. He was invited to Michael Jordan's 60th birthday party recently. Wow. Oh. And Chelly's just one of those connectors. He just knows everybody, does everything. Everyone likes him. He's chill. He's relaxed. So Chelly would have to be one. There'd be a lot of good stories there. Joe Thornton is another guy who's a lot of fun. He's back from the NHL Tonight days, just retired. So he's one of the guys when we got back into hockey who remember me back from 1997 before these guys were born, who now play in the league. So certainly Thornton, Chelly, and Wayne Gretzky's a lot of fun. He, he'll have a couple of pops and really like to laugh with the boys, and obviously all the stories that he has. And then maybe bring someone like Rocket Richard back from the 1950s to give us some old school mentality and some of the stuff that they went through with the riots and all the crazy stuff going on in the original 6. So that'd be a pretty good 4.
And what is the Bucci OT challenge that I see trending during all these games on Twitter?
Yeah, just a silly little Twitter game I came up with about 10, 12 years ago. Because we used to do it back in the NHL Tonight days because we did these late games you guys have to watch. And our show would follow the games. And if it went to overtime, it's like, oh, geez, when are we going to get to go home? You don't know until the game ends and the show follows. So we just throw $1 on the set, pick one guy each team. If your guy scored, you take the other guy's $2 and you start the show. Just a way to kind of pass the time. I just brought it to Twitter one day just as a lark. Hey, pick one person each team. I'll retweet you. It had big currency back in the day. So I'll retweet 10 winners. And it got really popular fast. I thought it was kind of weird, and I said maybe I'll make T-shirts next year, and we'll give away T-shirts, and I'll give you a chance to buy them, and I'll give the money away to hockey charities.
Nice.
Again, it just kept exploding. We've given away like $250,000 over the last 10 years. I wish I would have paid off my mortgage instead. I made this public proclamation. So I can't believe it's still kind of going. I thought it would fade away by now, but it still does really well. People enjoy it. Now I need a way to monetize it with one of these gambling companies so I can get my yacht and hang out with Run DMC.
What a beginning. What an ending. What an interview. Yeah. Good luck with the tire. Thank you so much. We'll be thinking of you staying up tonight as well, man. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you, John.
Never bother me again. Thank you.